There are individuals who have made a nice career out of volleyball, and there are some who are just volleyball lifers. Wegrich is definitely a lifer. A coach spanning 4 decades, she has accumulated over 750 NCAA victories at the University of Minnesota, University of Arizona, and Cal Poly Pomona. Before she hit the sidelines as an all-time great coach, she put up quite a playing career. She was a captain at San Diego State University while also representing the country in international competition. She took home the International Volleyball Association's Most Valuable Female Player Award 3 times and was named to the All-Pro team on 4 occasions. While she was establishing her own playing career, she also began what would later be a Hall of Fame career from the sidelines. After spending 2 seasons in Minnesota, she ventured to Arizona, where she racked up over 250 wins in 15 seasons. She continued her move west to California, where she'd go on to spend the next quarter of a century and counting. In that span, she'd become one of the winningest coaches in all of NCAA Division II. Said Olympian and former Humboldt State head coach Sue Woodstra, Rosie has mentored many young women as they made the transition from student athlete to coach. She has motivated them to share their passion and the skills learned while playing for her. Through them, she will continue to have an influence on volleyball for many years. The AVCA salutes Rosie Wegrich.
Good afternoon. This is such a fantastic honor. I wasn't sure when I was going to come up, but here I am. First, I want to thank the AVCA for this honor and to those that nominated me as well as voted. I'm completely honored, humbled, and completely surprised. I'd like to thank Mike is here with me. He's been so supportive for 40 years in every endeavor. I also want to thank my brother for being here, Mark, and his wife, Marie. And I'd like to thank our Associate Athletic Director at Cal Poly Pomona, Stephanie Duke. Thank you for coming. And I'd like to give a very big thanks for Debbie, my oldest friend that I've ever had, for coming. And finally, Tracy Dahl is my associate head coach at Cal Poly, and she has been with me for 1 year. We got back on the winning streak this year, thanks to her, and she helped me with getting ready for this event. I moved into coaching in 1975 at the University of Minnesota, and it seems like a long time ago, but it was a fantastic learning experience. I knew the game, but I needed to learn how to teach the game, and that was a big change to go from player to coach. Things have changed a lot since those times, some good and not as good. One thing I think you might get some humor from is we no longer share our uniforms with basketball, as we did in 1975. And there's no more hauling a 60-pound camcorder and an extension cord and let's see, what else? A tripod. And there's, believe it or not, we used to have to transport our competitive volleyballs to the away games. We also used to travel with a Thomas guide, and I had a bet with my teams, mostly at the University of Minnesota or Arizona, that I would make less than 10 U-turns, and if I exceeded that 10 U-turns, I would buy them a Dairy Queen, and I lost that bet at times. People that influenced my early times were, I learned on the beach. Buzz Swartz is a Hall of Fame beach player. I was fortunate to play for Bill Clemmo in the 70s. He coached our first US VBA team. Gene Selznick in the 60s was one of my coach. And my first clinic that I attended was conducted by Dr. Ari Sellinger, our former USA coach. And of course, Marv Dunphy, the Pepperdine and USA coach. And most recently, Mick Haley at USC. I've tapped into his knowledge. So I just wanted to take you really briefly how the volleyball bug grabbed me. I was at the Manhattan Beach Open and just watching these fantastic players, and I wanted to do that. At my time, we didn't have club, but USVBA sponsored a lot of tournaments, so that was my opportunity to break in. I was attending UCLA as a senior, and I was majoring in kinesiology, and my motor learning development professor said that the University of Minnesota job had opened up, and he thought I should apply. And I was definitely not thinking in that realm. I didn't have a credential, but as I flew back and I was looking out the airplane window while I was traveling for my interview, I could not believe how green the Midwest was. And it was just beautiful. And I said, you know, I can do this. I had just the great chance to play in the International Volleyball Association. It was one of the earlier attempts at professional volleyball. Thanks to the University of Minnesota and to the University of Arizona athletic directors, they enabled me to play and coach at the same time for 6 years. And they also conducted their practices while I was playing at the beginning part of the academic year. I jumped into coaching clinics because I knew I needed to learn how to coach. So Ari Salinger was fantastic, taught me that maybe I needed a degree in biomechanics and psychology. I also traveled to Japan and tried to learn more from him about 15 years ago. And then, of course, Marv Dunphy was fantastic, opened up his files and said, have fun and copy anything you want. The enjoyment of coaching for me has been figuring out the strategies and the skills that would help us win. And I also learned at the University of Minnesota how warm the Midwestern culture was. So today, it's interesting because the tools that coaches have access to, you know, video and all these things have cut down and made us better coaches. So I appreciate that. And just in closing, I just want to thank my players. There's a few here today because the things that they taught me allowed me to be successful. I learned how to reflect and focus on the processes of the game, and that's different. I know that recruiting takes a lot of hard work and organization, and I've learned that if we could just take this and be light with it, we can endure. And it's just a fantastic thing to meet all these young people in the recruiting process. The academic discussions that I have weekly with my new players is really the essence of my enjoyment off the court. And I just absolutely love getting to know them outside the volleyball court. And so I just wanted to mention that. And just in closing, coaches out there, just remember that our primary reason for recruiting and getting our recruits to attend college is that they have this chance to earn their degree, and so many opportunities come that way. So even though we all want to win, the academic enjoyment of seeing them blossom is just fantastic. So good wishes to all of the coaches and everyone, and congratulations to all of the honorees today. Thank you.